Hi, this is Laura from Scrappy Mania, and today we're going to create these flowers that you see here. This is from the new collection of HeartFelt creation called Blazing Poppies. So I got the die cut and I also got the stamp. So let's go and get started. I got my large acrylic, and this is the acrylic from Stupendous, and it's pretty nice. It's large. I got this at Amazon for a pretty good price. It was about $4 and something cents, but it works very well with these large stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my ink pad to my stamp because I can control and make sure that I have a good coverage there. Sometimes when you bring your stamp to your ink pad, you're not really seeing where it got stamp, and sometimes it's not as even. And then be careful when you get stamp on your finger like that. Let me go ahead and get a towel, tissue, because that will transfer to your cardstock. So I'm always trying to be careful when I pick up these ink pads that I'm not transferring my ink to my paper. Okay, so you need something nice and cushy, and then you're going to stamp this. And nice even pressure will stamp these flowers on your page, and then leave it on it for a little bit so that way you give a chance for it to soak up the ink. And then once it's stamped, then there you have it. You have a great impression each and every time. Okay, so then the next thing you want to do is you're going to use your die. And let me move things away from my table. Okay, so this die has the cutting edge of the die is very close. As you can see there, it's right at the edge. So you're mainly just going to take your die, and you're going to place it. You're going to place your paper side up. And I like to use, see, they're kind of warped, so I have a video how to fix that, but I haven't fixed this one yet. But what you want to do is you want to place your cutting pad on the bottom. I usually keep one that I don't cut with, and then so that way it's nice and straight. And then the one that you cut, you're going to put it on your plate. And this is a metallic plate, so I also have an extra shim. Now this is more for when you use the Cuttlebug. It really helps cut for intricate dies, but I'm just going to leave it there. You really don't need it for this one. I've used it with it and without, and it cuts the same way. It really works, so you really don't need that. Okay. Oops, that's why I had it backwards. So with your cutting die facing down, let's see, you can go ahead and make sure you put it nice and close. And because my bottom plate is warped, I need to get some new plates. You can go ahead and use a little bit of tape to tape it down. I'm going to put a little bit of tape here. And then once you put tape on one edge, you're going to go ahead and put some tape on the opposite. Right there. Okay, that will keep it nice and straight. And you're only going to need to pass it once because you'll see in a second that because I have that other metal plate underneath, it really just cuts perfectly. And it cuts it perfect each and every time. Now I'm showing you with paper. This is your regular paper, but when I made these, I used watercolor papers. What happened is my video, for some reason I deleted the beginning video where I showed you how to cut these out. And it's because I had the iPad overhead like I have it right now, and I showed you how to cut it. And then when I went to show you how to color it and do your flowers, I switched to a smaller video camera that I have, so that way you can really see right in front what I'm doing, because a lot of times I get comments in my video that they couldn't see what I was doing because I'm using my iPad overhead, and sometimes my hand gets in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the other video, and you will see me creating these flowers, and I hope you like the rest of the video and stay with me. Okay, so this is the flower we're gonna go ahead and color, and I'm gonna show you how to color this flower, but this is what we want to create. And while I was creating this, I noticed that I don't want the silver, so I'm gonna go ahead and change for this diamond dust. It's a real iridescent glitter, so you will hardly see it. Another thing that I use is this little container had rhinestones, those one that you use a hot tool to fix it onto your clothing or onto scrapbook pages. So I used all the rhinestones that were in here, and I repurposed a little bottle, and it has a perfect applicator for putting a little bit of glue on the edges of your flowers. So, and then another thing, I repurposed these little foams. Now these came with a something that I bought. It was a scrapbook item that I purchased. Had these to kind of keep the item in place and not moving during shipment. I went ahead and took them out, and I use them, and look, they're perfect for like daubers. You don't have to buy those daubers, you can use this. And then you have a bunch of sizes, so then I can use this for a different color, you know. I can use all sizes with different colors of ink. So I did that in the center, and then I'm going to go ahead and take, and this color is, not sure the color, I get them with kits. When I buy stamping kits at HSN, they give you extra inks pads. So that's what that one is from. And I don't really know the color. But see how great these little foam works? So just blend everything in, starting from the outside in. Now I hope you like this camera view. I went ahead and changed the camera view so you can really see how I create these flowers. And then I turn it over and put ink on the back of my petals. So that way when you can see a little bit of ink, especially when you put it on a page. Let's say this is a page. You may see a little bit underneath. So if it has a little color, I think it will look fine. Okay, so once we do that, and then let me show you this one, because this one's kind of tricky. Otherwise, you're going to break it off. You really have to be very careful with this petal. Even though I'm using watercolor paper, 140 pounds of watercolor paper for my flowers, I had to throw a couple of them. So notice like this one, it was breaking apart because I was a little too rough putting the color on. So be careful. Don't be too rough with the little ones. Okay, so after you do that, let me move these aside, they're drying. You're going to go ahead and get a foam pad and some water, and that's why I use watercolor paper, because I want to go ahead and wet these. If you're using cardstock, then you lightly mist, but if you're using watercolor like I'm doing here, you want to wet it because you want to break the fibers. And see, I notice that I have upside down. I'm kind of rolling the paper, and I'm really not giving it a lot of form right here. I'm just mainly breaking up the fibers, so that way for my next treatment it'll be more pliable. And then for this, I'm just going to push down and then turn it over and then push in the center. Okay, so what you really want to do is see these grooves right here. You want to go ahead and kind of fold your petals on those grooves like so. And if it's a little damp, it works a lot better. Okay, you're going to set it aside to dry, and then you're going to do the same thing here. You're going to go ahead and do the same thing to these little petals. Okay, so let me go ahead and get some petals that have been drying. So you're going to need 2 large ones. And I opened them up a little bit. And I'm going to push it in the center a little more. And just open it up a little bit. And kind of use my fingers to kind of shape it. And it's still a little damp, but it will be okay. Then you're going to open this a little more too. I just like it a little more open. And then I'm going to glue this to this. Actually, that's a medium size. Let's use this one. We'll use the one that we just formed. I'm going to put this in the center. Okay, and then I'm going to take some glue. I have a low setting glue, and then you're going to offset it. Just like you've seen me done on the flowers. You want to upset it, and then I push down because I want my petals to raise up a little bit. Then I'm going to put my next one here. Go ahead and push down. Open it up a little. Put some glue, center, and then apply it. See there? Do the same thing here. Use my stylus to kind of push it down. Now I'm going to take some glue. Okay, and then I'm going to get the smaller ones, the next size. And I'm just going to put it in the center. I use my stylus to push it down. And then I'm going to use my next size. Take my stylus and push it down. Okay, so I have this here, and I want to give it a nice little center. So I have these little beads. So I'm going to use these to sprinkle some in the center. And actually, I might just take a scoop. I have a little scoop here. So I'm going to use some Eileen tacky glue. I'm going to put a nice glob into center. Okay. See that nice little glob in the center? Take some beads and just push it down. And then I have these little pick that I bought at Harbor Freight. You can get this in the automotive center. And use that to kind of like get all the glue on your beads. And kind of make the center rounder. You can see there. Now I'm going to take some of my glue. And I'm just going to put it on the edges. You can use a Q-tip. If you don't have one of these applicators, you can take some glue, liquid glue with your Q-tip, and just put it around the edges. And you don't see like a glue getting on the edges of your petal, but trust me, it is getting glue. I want to make sure my center doesn't get all the form. And then you go ahead and just puff some. Okay. And this one has just a little hint of glue, little sparkle. When it dries, it's just going to drive a little sparkle. This one has a lot more sparkle. So these are my two flowers. So I hope you like this video and thank you for watching. Bye now.